Hello, it's me, and I'm still going through some of the demonstrations that I'd shown on the last unboxing, so I thought I'd go through this guy over here. This is called the Mental Flop, which is said to be a hybrid between the Mental Block, which looks exactly like this, only they have these X's on all sides, and the puzzle that it looks like, which is the 3x1x1. So it looks, for all intents and purposes, like this guy over here, 3x1x1. And it even seems to move like a 3x1x1 as well. This can move over here, and this can move over here. So the thing is, though, is that's not exactly what it is. A 3x1x1 has that floppy element to it. Sometimes you can move a little bit more, which is kind of cool with this particular puzzle. But the thing is, it's really not a 3x1x1 because although it can move like this, like a 3x1x1, it can't move over here because this X prevents that. Instead, it moves like this. And you may say, well, so what? So the cut is a little different. Well, when it does that, it behaves very differently than an actual floppy. When I turn this and I make this turn, I can make another kind of a turn, which is over here. This other kind of a turn is nowhere to be found on a puzzle like this. So actually what this is you can see that we're 3 layers down, and I can move 1, 2, 3, well, this would be 4. So this has like a 2x2 look to it. So given these cuts, we have a move here, 1, 2, and then the opposite 3 and 4. So it really functions exactly like this guy. It's a 2x3, it's a 2x3x3. It's exactly the same puzzle. This moves here, and so too, this moves here and here. So that would be the equivalent of these moves. So really, I don't look at this as a hybrid between a 3x1x1 and a Mental Flop. I just look at it as a shape mod because it behaves exactly the same way. So the challenge of this puzzle has to do with keeping our perspective about us, and it's really neat because for a puzzle to look so much like another kind of a puzzle, yet be exactly the same as this, is pretty fascinating. As a matter of fact, what I'd like to see is a 2x4x4, a 2x2x4 that's also of this pattern, that you have an extra layer, or even a 2x2 where you have one off and it looks like a 1x2x3. That would be cool. So hint hint, anyone who can work on that would be great. But let's go ahead and scramble this up and see what it's like to solve this, see what it does to your perspective. So we can go there, scramble it up over here too, maybe move that down. And as I'm scrambling it, you can sort of see the structure of the 3x2x2 come out a little bit more. Oh, actually, I won't do it like that. Let's do it like this. And over here, move this like so. Turn, neat little shape there. Turn and turn. Okay, so that's not bad, I guess. Scrambles in various and strange ways. Put this in over here. Whoop! Don't want to make it look too solved. And turn. Okay, that's not bad. Might as well scramble this up too, just for the basis of comparison. Turn, and turn. Okay, so that's not too bad. So the first step in this kind of a solve, and we'll see how the perspective gets changed with this, is I'd solve the middle first. And that's relatively easy. You're looking for the other blue, which is right here. If this were over here, then I would just turn it like so and bring it in. So this is in, and then these come over to here. So that's not difficult. Anyway, so if I see this here, if I want to put the other yellow one in, I see it here. So I'm going to move it to the side, bump it over here. So I've got these two in. Then it's just a matter of turning this one in. So I guess that's not too hard with this puzzle. So I've got the middles in. Next is going to be one of the tops, using sliding U techniques. If I look at it here, you can see that the gray doesn't belong here because this doesn't line up, so it's all going to be black. So to move the black one in, again, sliding U techniques. Let's find the black and orange, which is here. So move it in from the left, slide it to the right, out from the right, back to the left, slide to the left, back to the right, and back. And we just do that using the usual method. This needs to come to here, 2R, slide it to the L, 2L, slide it to the R, 2R, slide it to the L, 2L, slide it back. And now we have just one more, which is this guy here. So nothing too earth-shattering about this. Very easy to visualize, easy to see. And before you know it, we've got both of these in. So let's see how this translates with this guy. Well, which one should I use? Should I give this one? Well, you can see that the blue one does belong on top. So let's find where another blue one is. This is blue and yellow. This blue and yellow belongs over here. So how are we going to move that in? Well, we're going to be moving it in from this perspective. So let's turn it in here, and we see that it comes into here. So I'm going to say this is, I moved it in from the right, slide it to the left, and I guess this would be the left over here. Move it from the left, slide it back to the right, move it from the right, back to the left, and move it from the left. Move it in, so this is all fine. This is good here too. So now all I need to do is move this one in. Let me scramble this up a little more. This is okay. We'll pick it up from here. So we move this one in and this one in. Now what we want to do is we want to move the blue and yellow one in, which is this. So how are we going to move that in? Well, let's organize it in a way that we can get it in the proper position. So if we move it here, it's in. So this is moving it in from the right. So what would qualify as swinging it to the left? So I guess I'll move it behind over here so that this is in a leftward position over here. So do a 2L. Move it back to the right, then move it from the right back to the left, and move it in from the left. Aha! So that's in. Now all we have is this guy here. Get this tongue away. This is going to be the blue and white, which is this guy. So I'm just going to angle it to where it'll pop into this position when I turn it, and that's not it. This is where perspective becomes an issue. Move it in like so. Now I moved it in from the right, and that's in. I got to swing it to a left, and this is my left hand move, so turn it to the left. Swing it back to the right, turn it to the right, back to the left, swing it to the left, and done. Okay, so now we have this one done. So the last layer is all corner swaps. I find two that are in, two edges, and I just swap these two. 2RU, 2R UI, 2R, UID, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. This turns back and it's done. So let's find two that are in, and that would be these two. So all I have to do is swap these two the same way. This will come here and this will come back here. So again, keeping my perspective about me, this is my R over here, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R, UI, D, 2R, UI, 2R, U, 2R. This moves back and it's done. So that's the fascinating thing about it is this is a 3x2x2. I don't look at it as a hybrid because it doesn't have characteristics of both. It's really just a shape mod. A hybrid would be if it was a combination of this and a mental block rather. I think a mental block is a Scube if I'm not mistaken, but this really isn't a hybrid. It looks like this, which is fascinating, but it's really a 2x3x3. Anyway, there you have it. Great little puzzle. Interesting perspective bender. Thanks for watching.